In this video, we're going to take a look at the integration of Adobe Connect into myFranklin. So when a course is created, our systems actually automatically connect Adobe Connect with myFranklin. So therefore, when you click on the Apps menu and you go to Meet, you're able to see the landing page where all the recordings will be, as well as to be able to enter the session. So this session has been created when the course was created, so therefore you'll be able to get to it. Let's look at the other way to get to that session. You can also go back to the course page and go to a learning object that has this Meet button that has been enabled. This button actually is integrated such that it launches the Meet session itself. I'm going to click on the Meet button, and what that will do is it will start the process of downloading it and opening it up for me. So you'll notice this first time I've gone into it, it has opened in a new tab in my browser. And this means that I don't have the add-in installed. This is not a problem. It's just something to take a look at and something you may notice that you have to do. So once I'm here, I can still operate just about everything within the session. I'm able to view the attendees, I'm able to initiate a chat, and I can share materials. We will talk about a lot of the configurations and how all of this works as you go through the entire course. So I recommend you go through everything pretty lockstep. I would go through it in the order in which it's displayed so that you'll start to build your knowledge on how all of these pieces work. If you don't, you may find that it's a little harder to do than it otherwise would be. So let's take a look at that beginning session. So we're right in here and we want to take a look at some things. So let's say, and this is where that add-in makes a big difference. I want to share my screen. So let's watch what happens. When I click on share my screen, it says, oh, you need something else. And this is important. You should install this so that you can do a screen share if that's something that you need. If you don't need it, it's certainly okay. So it says to use this application, you need to add the add-in. Would you like to install it? So I'm going to say yes. Now, the reason I recommend doing this is that once you install it, you won't have to do this process again. And because you won't have to do it again, it'll just be a little simpler in getting into your meetings every time. And once it's done loading, I'll also show you something else. So let me resize this window because it actually opens up full screen that first time. I'm going to resize it, and you'll notice it's now in its own window. So let me slide this down and show you. See how it used to be in my browser? Well, it's now in a separate window. My personal preferences, I think this works really, really nicely and offers you quick access to all of the functionality. So what you gain from that is a separate window as well as the ability to then click on the Share My Screen, and you can begin the screen share process. So that's the two reasons you need that add-in are number one, to be able to do a screen share, and two, to have this in that separate window in order to manage all of those functions. Now you might say, well, why would I care about being in a separate window? Why does that matter? For me, it matters because if I accidentally close my browser window, I leave the session. So I think it's a good practice to have it separate because then you'll be able to have that as a separate window and you won't accidentally close something else and leave your session. It's not that you can't go back in, but it's more of a convenience factor and kind of managing the different things that you're sharing and all of the things that you do during the classroom management process. So that's just a quick overview of getting into the session, kind of how it's integrated into myFranklin, and maybe some of the things that you will see when you first log in. Now, if you're already a user of Adobe Connect, you may never have to go through that add-in process. But if you're not already a user, you may have to do that. So if you have any technical questions or any issues with logging into that or downloading that add-in, we recommend that you contact the help desk.